Today I'm revealing hidden gem nuts you've probably never heard of, each packed with unique health benefits to boost your nutrition. Now, some of these are not nuts, but they're seeds or tubers. They just happen to look like nuts. Still, you should know all about them. Now, before we get going, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, number one, Sacha Inchi, sometimes called the Inca peanut. Sacha Inchi is a seed from the Amazon known for its high omega-3 content. Now, it's rich in omega-3 fatty acids. It contains alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based short-chain omega-3 that is really one of the best omega-3 fats that you can have. I go on and on and on about how important alpha-linolenic acid is. It actually blocks LPSs from getting through the wall of your gut. Alpha-linolenic acid is the hallmark of the famous Lyon heart diet study, where people with a heart attack were randomized to a low-fat American Heart Association diet or a diet that included a margarine made from alpha-linolenic acid. And lo and behold, this study, which was supposed to go 5 years, was stopped after 3 years because the group that got the alpha-linolenic acid did so much better in avoiding new heart attacks that it was unethical to continue with the low-fat American Heart Association diet. Great stuff indeed. And it's a great source of this short-chain omega-3 fat. They're also very high in protein. They actually contain all the essential amino acids, so that's important for muscle repair and immune support. They're also loaded with antioxidants. They contain vitamin E, which protects against oxidative stress. Studies have shown that Sacha Inchi oil can even prevent fat accumulation in the liver. Other recent studies have highlighted Sacha Inchi's potential in managing inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. Sacha Inchi's anti-inflammatory properties may work by modulating immune responses and influencing gut microbiota, which could make it a natural support option for arthritis and other inflammatory disease. Now, I recommend eating a small handful, about an ounce per day. And it's plenty to reap the benefits without overdoing it. All right, number two, tiger nuts. Now, tiger nuts have been eaten for thousands of years in Africa, and there is some evidence that ancient humans actually got much of their nutrition from these nuts. They're not a nut at all. Even though they're called a tiger nut, they are a tuber. And they are a great source of prebiotic fiber. It's very high in resistant starch. Now, remember, prebiotic fiber, particularly those found in tubers, feed good gut bacteria, promoting a healthier microbiome. Tiger nuts are rich in magnesium and potassium. Most of my patients, particularly with skipped heartbeats, with atrial fibrillation, are very low in magnesium and potassium. Most adults are low in magnesium and potassium. So these are essential minerals for bone and heart health. And it's great for natural appetite control. Now, thanks to the high fiber content, tiger nuts keep you fuller longer. And because they're feeding your gut microbiome, the microbiome literally sends text messages up to your brain saying, hey, thanks a lot. We're eating this stuff. Our needs are met, and you don't have to go looking for other things. And that's the benefit of fiber. Fiber doesn't expand and make you feel full, not at all. It actually feeds the good gut bacteria that tell you you're full because they're full. Now, tiger nuts do have a high oleic acid content. Oleic acid is in olive oil. And even though that's not as great a heart health contributor as most people think about, their unique fiber profile is really what you're going to get from these nuts. Same way with most nuts. About a handful is really what you're going to want to eat. Now, word to the wise, please buy peeled tiger nuts. I have tried unpeeled tiger nuts, and it is an experience you don't want to repeat. You will definitely crack several tooth fillings, etc. Get the peeled tiger nuts. It'll be worth it. All right, how about baru nuts? Now, these are grown in the savannas of Brazil. Baru nuts are nutrient dense and environmentally sustainable. Our friend Doran Olian, check out his interview in the past on this podcast, has a great brand. It's easily accessible on Amazon called Baruca nuts. Now, why do I like Baruca nuts so much? First of all, they're very high in protein and also in soluble fiber. Baruca nuts provide more protein and fiber than most other nuts, making them once again great for satiety. They're also packed with polyphenols and amino acids. They have a very high antioxidant capacity as measured by an ORAC score of about 6,000 per serving, and they're great for combating free radical damage. Now, the other good news is compared to other nuts, baru nuts are lower in calories, making them a great option for those watching their weight. In fact, one study found that incorporating 20 grams of baru nuts daily improved the good HDL cholesterol and helped reduce waist circumference among overweight women, which again is likely due to their high fiber and mono and polyunsaturated fat content and the antioxidants. Again, how much is the right amount? About a handful. Also remember that baru nuts are roasted. In fact, anyone claiming that they're going to sell you raw baru nuts, you can't eat raw baru nuts, so don't worry about it. All right, number 4, pili nuts. Now, these originated from the Philippines and also Indonesia. Pili nuts are known for their buttery texture and are ideal for low-carb diets. I actually have a full episode discussing the full benefits of pili nuts here on this channel, featuring Jason Thomas, the founder of Pili Hunters. Now, they're really interesting fats. They're very high in monounsaturated fats, but they're also very high in some very interesting saturated fats. And that's actually where that really creamy texture comes from. And that's why they've been a darling of the keto diet movement. The nice thing about them, because of their high, good saturated fat content, is that they store for an extremely long time without going rancid. Most nuts, as you probably know, once you peel them, once you take them out of their shell, begin to go rancid fairly quickly. And that's why whenever you're buying nuts, make sure you're buying nuts from a high turnover store, like, for instance, Costco or Trader Joe's. But pili nuts are really shelf stable, and that deserves our interest. They're also very high in magnesium. And that's, again, important for muscle function, relaxation, and even blood sugar control. Now, I recommend eating a small handful or less a day. Pili nuts are really high in fat, so a little goes a long way. And the nice thing about pili nuts is that really a little dab will do you. They are so rich and creamy that you're really not going to need much to satisfy your taste buds. And that's one of their benefits. All right, number 5, chestnuts. Well, you may have heard of chestnuts roasting on an open fire in your favorite Christmas song, but have you ever seen them before? If you've visited a big city like New York City in the winter, you can find roasted chestnut vendors. They're used extensively in Europe, but unfortunately, they're hard to find. Now, why are they so great for you? Number 1, they're high in resistant starches, prebiotic fiber, which is this prebiotic that feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Number 2, they're really low on the glycemic index, which means you don't get a blood sugar spike, making them a great choice for people with diabetes or insulin resistance. Number 3, they're packed with antioxidants like vitamin C, gallic acid, and ealic acid, which help combat oxidative stress and reduce inflammation. Now, studies suggest that these compounds protect against chronic diseases such as heart disease and cancer by neutralizing free radicals. Number 4, Chestnuts are also a good source of potassium. Again, potassium is essential for regulating your blood pressure and actually combating arrhythmias, skipped heartbeats. Addition, their high fiber content helps lower LDL, quote, bad cholesterol levels, and research indicates that a fiber-rich diet is linked to a reduced risk of stroke and heart attacks. Now, how best to eat them when you find them? Well, luckily, you can find them in jars. They're usually in glass jars, and you eat them. I find the best way is to slice them and put them in salads or incorporate them in your stews or other cooking. If you're lucky enough to be in Europe or big cities during the winter and you get them roasted, you eat them just like it sounds. You peel them off and eat them, and they're absolutely delicious. Interestingly enough, chestnut flour is very popular in Europe as a baking flour. And some of the best cakes and cookies I've ever had are actually made with chestnut flour as the ingredient. We can find chestnut flour in the United States. A lot of Italian markets do stock it, but it's also on the internet. So think about adding chestnut flour as one of your top baking essentials.
Thanks so much for watching this episode, but don't go anywhere. I think you're going to love this next one.
Today, I'm revealing the top nut butters that are actually good for your health, and believe me, there are ones that you probably wouldn't even think of.